Okay, so now we're going to work with carboxylic acids, also known as carboxylates and esters. Esters smell great. Carboxylic acids, those are really important for amino acids, and as you can guess from the name, yes, they are acidic. Isn't that lovely? Okay, so carboxylic acids look like this. An OH, C double bond O, OH. Esters look just like that, but instead of having an H right here, they're going to have another carbon chain. Okay, so this might at least this part, I hope, reminds you that it kind of looks like an ether. And looking at the name ester and looking at the name ether, this is very confusing. So you need to take some time and really think about this. So ethers were made from two alcohols combining, and they lost a water and ended up looking like this. And it's very, very strong. And we see that same type of bonding over here, but with the addition of this carbonyl group, this C double bond O, which is very reminiscent of the carboxylic acids. So as you can imagine, if it looks the same, it's probably made in a similar process. And this part looks a lot like a carboxylic acid, and it was probably made from combining a carboxylic acid and an alcohol. And when this happens, we lose a water. Boom. That's our leaving group. And then this bond right here is going to become connected directly to that oxygen. So we will end up with something like this. And that is how esters are made, and they smell fantastic, like bananas or mint or something like that. Okay, so now let's go into naming, and we're going to start with carboxylic acids. I'm going to scroll down here a little bit, clean up my workspace. Okay, so carboxylic acids, they're always on the end. We do not need to worry about numbers for them because they're always on the end, just like aldehydes. CH3, CH2, 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 COOH. It will always look like this, C double bond OOH. So when you see that, you need to think C double bond O, OH attached to whatever's written before it. So when we draw the skeletal structure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it doesn't matter if the carbonyl is facing up or down. This is the exact same as that. This is all carboxylic acid. So the way that we name this is we find the longest chain, and that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pent. Pents are prefixed there. So the name is pentanoic acid. So you add the ending anoic acid. Okay. There's other ways to name it, like pentate, which is kind of not as preferred. This means that it's in the deionized form. Like there's a pyruvic acid, which is important in glycolysis. It's also known as pyruvate. Right, so the 8 acid, the 8 ending is fine. I suggest you stick with anoic acid for simplicity in this general education course. Okay, so carboxylic acids, done. How about esters? Here's an example, CH3, CH2, CH2. These are in the middle, COO, CH3. So you see it looks almost exactly like the carboxylate, except there's no H. The H is missing, and also there's a carbon there. So there's a carbon there instead of that H. So this is how you can tell that it's an ester. And when we draw this out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 carbons on this side. This COO means the same thing as the other, but instead of having an H, got a CH3 over there. We got a methyl group right there. So looking at this, we can easily see, and looking back at our example, this part came from the acid. So that's the part with the carbonyl came from the acid. So that means this part with the carbonyl came from the acid, and the other part with the alcohol, that with just the O, that came from the alcohol. So in order to name this, you are going to name it with the alcohol group first, because alcohol is the most important. Alcohol, then the acid, and then the ending -ate, right? So alcohol being most important, that goes first. This has 1 carbon, so we're going to call that meth. This is an additional group, so methyl. And then the acid name, which I'm going to write in blue because it's fun. Acid. This has 1, 2, 3, 4 carbons. Yes, this is a carbon as well. So that's the prefix for that is bute, bute-arate. So first part has an YL ending, second part has an -ate ending, and these are definitely extremely challenging to name.